Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Friday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. It's Andy and Brendan, and it is almost time for Super Bowl 60. A little over 49 hours. We're almost there. But we finally today get to give our score predictions.
Yeah, I've had this Seahawks -4.5 ticket for almost 2 weeks now.
And you don't feel good about it. You're just
I don't feel good. I don't know if my score prediction's going to reflect it. My own bet that I made.
Should have been in on the first 20 minutes.
But legitimately, well, yeah, sure. I'd feel a lot better about it at 3.5 as Rob Veno does. But nothing's happened, right? Nothing's changed that makes me think, oh, no. Yeah, I guess you've got an injury to one of the defensive players for Seattle where he's going to play through an ankle, but nothing that really would change my mind about it too terribly much. It's just you get 2 weeks to overthink it, and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Well, not much overthinking left to do, or at least much time left to do it. So finally, our predictions for Super Bowl 60, Seahawks or Patriots. You can give us yours at 875-KTGR. And let us know what you're doing for the Super Bowl, of course. We'll have Rob Veno's take, as always, of wagertalk.com. He'll join us at 425. We have an all Super Bowl props picks of the week edition today, which I think will be pretty fun. There's some interesting ones on here at 545.
Always a good time. The multi-sport ones, you crawl into Andy's brain and figure out where he's coming up with these. But
it's not me. They're actual bets you can find out there.
The markets exist, right?
It is out there. I wish I could take credit, but I can't. We'll also talk some Mizzou hoops. Tiger men get back at it tomorrow after a week off. How will we expect them to play at South Carolina in a game that KenPom characterizes as 50-50. So we'll see how that goes. And Mizzou women's basketball really on a roll. We'll talk about them at 525. 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. Tweet us too at KTGR Big Show. We're live on YouTube right now. You can see us, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports. We're also on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Yeah, in Mizzou land, the Mizzou men's team tomorrow will play South Carolina in a game that feels like they need to have based on what's left on the schedule. This might be one of their easier ones to win. South Carolina down near the bottom of the SEC standings. Mizzou 5-4 as they kick off the second half of the SEC season. Should have Sean Phillips Jr. back tomorrow. We shall see. Tip off at noon, 11:30 pregame right here on KTGR. Mizzou women's basketball held on for an 87-82 win over Arkansas last night for their third consecutive SEC victory. They're 4-6 in conference, 16-9 overall. And we'll try to keep things rolling on Sunday as they host Georgia. You can hear that on KTGR right before you tune in for the Super Bowl. 2:45 pregame start right here on KTGR from Mizzou Women's Hoops. That's the Big Show's big deal on this 6th day of February, 2026. Give us a call or text here, 573-875-KTGR, to give us your Super Bowl final prediction. Yeah, there are injuries that could affect this. We learn a little more about the injuries now and how serious they might be, whether it actually keeps players out of this game. I don't think it's going to keep anybody really major out, at least guys that we know haven't been ruled out for torn ACLs or things like that, like Zach Charbonnet. That we knew for a while. But guys like Nick Amenwari, who has been an excellent rookie for the Seahawks defense this year and a very key piece of what they do. Like, they will have to play differently if he can't be out there, but I think he will, because it's the Super Bowl, right? And then both quarterbacks dealing with stuff, like how will they be able to manage that throughout the game? It is interesting now that we get to the nitty gritty of, okay, how available will players be? Which we won't really know, but we'll start to get an indication as to how the game plays out and how will it affect the matchup. Now we're going to see very soon.
Yeah, we talked about Amenwari with Matt Hamilton yesterday. Like you mentioned, that notion of the style of defense Seattle plays, like even if he's limited, Could that be something that the Patriots are able to exploit? It's certainly worth monitoring, but I think that the case with all these guys that are dealing with the various nicks and cuts from throughout the season, they're going to play. I mean, they're going to be in there. It's just going to be a matter of how much it impacts them and whether or not they can be at their capacity at 100% or as close to 100% as you can be. So the way the tale of the tape, I think, originally was viewed, at least the way that I viewed it, was, all right, the Patriots haven't played as many tough tests as the Seahawks have. The record is great for both teams, but Seattle's probably more battle tested, and I think Seattle's probably more balanced, where I trust their offense and I really trust their defense. But with the Patriots, I mean, they put up a ton of points this season. They have had a really opportunistic defense, and I don't really say that as a slight on them. Like, it's to their credit that they've been able to come up with a lot of the turnovers and the takeaways that they have to be able to get, propel them to some wins. I guess, though, there is the notion of, okay, if that's kind of what you're built upon, are you going to be able to do it on the biggest stage? And if not, are you going to be in some trouble? But there's an avenue where they absolutely could continue to win games the way that they've won them all year, Andy, especially given Sam Darnold's propensity to turn the ball over. Like, that's probably something that, as I'm clicking at Seahawks minus 4.5 12 days ago, maybe I wasn't really considering as much. The notion of, maybe the Patriots are just going to continue to be able to earn those takeaways because Darnold's been a guy that gives them up.
Here's the thing, though. The biggest impact that the Patriots have had for my book is the fact that we've had to talk about them for 2 weeks. And that's why everyone's thinking, well, maybe the Patriots can do it.
Oh, you just have no choice.
Yeah,
right?
You know what? Don't count out this Patriots team. Don't do it. They have still had to play very solid games in order to beat the teams they've beaten this year. It's still very hard to go 14-3, and
I don't think we're just patronizing them, though. I think there's a lot of validity to those thoughts. Like you said, though, if we don't have 2 weeks to talk about it, do we arrive at that by day 12? Maybe not.
No,
maybe not. But when I think about the question I asked Matt Hamilton yesterday, and I feel strongly about it, I do trust Drake May more to not screw it up than I trust Sam Darnold, which, by the way, to put a bow on the whole Brendan's MVP bet, he lost by a vote. You're telling me Drake May lost by a vote? 24 first place votes to 23, and some dudes out here voting for Justin Herbert? What's going on here? I was that close to taking a $5 wager and cashing it for $500. Oh my gosh, that made me sick because I knew that Stafford was going to win. And when I saw the alert last night, I'm like, all right, that's kind of what I figured. But then I woke up and someone had texted me. I was actually at 4 a.m. Bottle feeding that I took a peek at my phone. Yeah. And I was like, well, I didn't need to know that. I could have gone the rest of my life without knowing that he only lost by a vote. So that's fun. But he was an MVP finalist. He's the runner-up in the MVP, and I think I trust him to manage and mitigate mistakes more than I do Darnold right now. So why again did I bet the Seahawks? What did I get myself into?
What did you do? What is going on in your betting brain?
I bet the Seahawks because they're really freaking good at football. They have a really good offense. They have maybe the best wide receiver in football. They have an explosive running back. They have a quarterback who has been able to answer the call and elevate the pieces around him just enough to make this offense what it's been. They have a really darn good defense. And that's where I think if I'm not like playing this, scared puppy act of, I think my bet's going to lose. I think realistically, it's going to be difficult for the Patriots to pour on points against Seattle. They, against Denver, and I get it, the snow happened in the second half of the AFC Championship game, but their offense wasn't doing much in the first half. And I still say if Jared Stidham doesn't fumble the ball backward on the pass attempt to Tyler Beatty, whatever they're calling him these days, I don't think that the Patriots are in the Super Bowl. I think Denver probably survives that game because that put them on the doorstep of a touchdown, which they were able to convert. Good on you, New England. But their offense did not look good in that game against that type of defense. I think Seattle is also that type of defense.
875-KTGR. Text in your Super Bowl predictions. for Patriots Seahawks, 573-875-5847. And the other part of it, there could be a whole I would take the Seahawks wide receiver room with just Jackson Smith and Jigba, and even if they didn't have Cooper Kupp and some other guys that can catch the ball, Rashid Shaheed for them, I would still think just JSN in the room makes the room better than the Patriots room. Like just
the Patriots, if they win the Super Bowl and it's not like a Hunter Henry, Ramondre Stevenson fest, somebody's going to emerge among those wide receivers. We talked about Diggs the other day. His over-under is like 46 yards. And I was kind of like, it could absolutely happen. He could go hamburglar and he could be 8 catches for 100 yards. He could catch a long one. He could be the possession guy too. He could just elevate, in the biggest moment. I think if it happens, though, that the Patriots get that passing game going through the wide receivers, you are going to learn the name of somebody. Like, on a national scale, people are going to be talking about, wow, did you see that play by Mac Hollins? Or, man, Demarius Pop Douglas, really, who the heck is this guy that came up with that, that drive? He caught 2 balls and got him into the red zone. Like, there's going to be Kayshon Boutte could absolutely be that candidate. And I remember when he was at LSU and it was like, yeah, Kayshon Boutte's going to be a really good player in the NFL. And then he kind of had some off-field stuff and maybe some maturity concerns early on. But, I mean, he's somebody that can absolutely make an impact in this game. So, I agree with you. I think I'm taking Seattle's wide receiver room if we're playing the tail of the tape game. But I think I'm not going to put it past some of those wide receivers for the Patriots to surprise us, I guess I would say.
Well, yeah, they'll need someone to step up and surprise, almost in a way that I liken it to last year when the Eagles had Jahan Dotson catch a bunch of long bombs to really pace their offense in the Super Bowl. And I know there were a lot of reasons why they won outside of just Jahan Dotson stepping up.
Yeah, he had a couple of nice catches.
Yeah, but there were a couple of kill shots that the Eagles had that that was key to have Dotson run that type of route. And he made a nice play to really put the clamps on for this game. And then obviously things went the way that they went. And so there will be Jawan Jennings a few years ago when he had some really good moments for the Niners. And if they win that game, he probably wins MVP. So that has to come out of the Patriots wide receiver room in some way, shape, or form, because I actually don't think that they can hang with the Seahawks if they're just I know Hunter Henry's great. I know Ramondre Stevenson, great pass catcher from the backfield. If that's all they can pepper the ball to, no chance.
Hunter Henry, can I sell you on Hunter Henry against the Seahawks that have given up, I think, the most receptions to tight ends? I have to find that stat. I know they've, at least during the regular season, and I mean the Rams ran a bunch of tight ends and didn't do those guys didn't do a ton. Thanks for nothing, Terrence Ferguson.
Wow.
But there is, I think, a favorable matchup. It's not quite the most receptions. They've given up the most receptions to running backs, which is why I love Ramondre's receiving stuff. But 5th most receptions, 6th most yards to tight ends this season, Seattle. I think Hunter Henry's got to be that safety blanket. He's got to be that guy, I think, for Drake May to, you're turning out first downs. You're constantly kind of getting him open, lost in the scheme a little bit, a scheme that I think can do a nice job of shutting down wide receivers. But again, as we talked with Matt Hamilton yesterday, maybe tight end is an area where that gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. I don't know if Hunter Henry is that type of tight end. Where would he rank for me among NFL tight ends today? I don't know. Not super high, but if he has a rapport with Drake May, that's really all that matters in this one.
875 KTGR, give us your predictions for Super Bowl 60. Do you think Drake May outplays Sam Darnold?
I think Drake May holds his own against Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold could play a game like he did against the Rams, and you would be all talking about Sam Darnold. He would be the MVP if that happens. He was 346 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think Drake May adds an element with his legs that's got the potential to change the dynamic of the game. I think if this game goes over the total, and I'm kind of waffling back and forth. I haven't placed a wager on the total. I think if it goes over, it's Drake May used his legs, and that's how the Patriots are able to keep pace, and both teams score into the mid to upper 20s because Drake May extends plays, scrambles, does those sorts of things that kind of puts the Seahawks defense on its heels a little bit, and then maybe opens up some other types of opportunities. I think Drake May will have a good Super Bowl. I don't know if it'll be better than Darnold, but I don't think they're going to lose this Super Bowl because Drake May isn't up to the challenge.
Interesting.
I like it, man. I really do.
This last game, though, they put the clamps on him.
I think Denver's a really good defense, and Seattle is too. There's no doubt about that.
Good defenses that he has played, and we'll see how he stacks up with this one. I think Sam Darnold will have more passing yards. Drake May, I think, very clearly has a chance he's going to run it more and probably will end up with more rushing yards. But there will be a play that Darnold makes with his legs. A play.
Okay. Yeah.
It will happen. He doesn't run a lot. Like he's got the oblique thing too. Like that's tough. There will be a play where he uses his legs and it picks up a chunk for the Seahawks when they need it. Right.
I can get on board with that. Yeah, I can get on board with that. I think that's a fair call. And he does have that type of mobility. So I agree with you. Darnold's going to throw a pick. He is going to throw a pick in this game, but if he can limit it to that, I think the Seahawks are going to be just fine.
Yeah, the wash on the turnovers means the Seahawks get it done.
I would agree. I think, but you could have 2 turnovers apiece or 1 apiece, but if the Patriots one that they get as a takeaway comes like it did in the Denver game, where it's, more meaningful, even if it's 1-1, but yours sets you up on the doorstep,
sure,
or it's a pick 6, that could be enough for the Patriots. They would have to, in the aggregate, win the turnover battle, including whether or not that turnover, where that happened on the field, how costly.
But they also need to win the production battle for that too. It was enough against Jared Stidham. It will not be enough against this offense.
No, that's fair.
If you ask me.
That's a fair take.
You've got to stop them in their. You do have to stop momentum with that as much as possible, because they will ramp it up. Like the Seahawks will get into a rhythm. They will not have trouble moving the football in this game. Question is, can you limit them in the red zone, force them to field goals that they don't want to take? And then, the big plays for on defense. That's what the Patriots defense has been known for. And so it can't go away. It can't disappear in the biggest game. So it's got to be there. What's your prediction?
I'm going to predict a score that does not cash my bet. Call me a coward.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go 24-20. It's just been the number that's kind of gone around in my head. And there is a realm in which it's more like if I get the Seahawks dominance that I wagered on 12 days ago, it's because they win it like 24-13.
That's my prediction.
Really? Yeah, where they just shut down the Patriots offense. But I'm going to, since I've talked up Drake May here, Andy, I will say 24-20. You get requisite production there, but it's going to be a Super Bowl that I think largely is going to feel like the Seahawks were the best team in the NFL this year. 24-20.
Yeah, 24-13. This Patriots team getting a touchdown and 2 field goals against this defense feels right to me. Like they'll get a touchdown. Like they'll get.
What if they? But what happens to our narratives if Kayshon Boutte catches a 50-yard touchdown on the first drive of the game, or suddenly the Patriots look like they're going to score 30 points a game like they did for most of the year. And that's where I'm like, the way it starts, I think, for the Patriots offense is going to be telling. If they start and it's a slog, I don't know what they do to get out of that.
Sure, that is key to get that type of momentum. But for the Seahawks, I really think their ability to make the adjustments on defense, like maybe they let up the early one and are thinking like, what happened? And I think they do settle in pretty well once the second quarter hits, and then you might see the type of Drake May that was in the AFC Championship game and couldn't move anything down the field, or maybe is still connecting with receivers the way he should, but that last play, you need to finish off for a touchdown, just won't be there. I think the Seahawks will bend and not break the rest of the game when it comes to that, even if they let up an early one. So, yeah, I'll say 24-13.
Okay. I hope you're right. I mean, that ends up being I won't say sweat-free because there's always ways, but be a moderately comfortable deal for I mean, the Patriots will be driving with the ball at the end, and it'll be here's what it could be. Actually, I have to think about this. I might go off book. Go off book. Here's how I'm hitting my bet. It's actually going to be 24-19 because
they go for two.
They go for two and don't get it.
Yeah.
It's going to be 24-13, just like you said, Patriots ball. If they score, which my score prediction suggests they ought to, they're going to have to go for two, right? Because they'll be down 4. 24-19 is such a savvy exacto. If you're going to bet an exacto, I'm like
a prediction on the score.
Anytime you're predicting the exact score and you're right, you're going to cash in like crazy. But throwing 19 in there, I feel like the odds have got to be better on that. It's got to be long.
And that is more indicative, I think, of NFL scores these days when
it happens, right?
When they made the change with the extra point, when they moved it back to the 15, and it either wasn't as sure of a thing anymore, or it made teams decide like, hey, let's go for two, because the 2-pointer isn't changing. Like that I think is the biggest change to some of the score lines that we have seen. I don't, it's mostly anecdotal. I don't know how many scoregamis we've had since the inception of the new.
I'm sure you could bet on whether or not there will be a score.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm sure that's on the list somewhere, somehow.
Crazy odds also, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can definitely do that. I don't know if I recommend it for this game, but
I don't.
I think it's going to be fairly low scoring.
You're talking about the kind of bet that you would make now here in our jurisdiction of legality, where you throw $5 on something because it's fun. That's really what you're talking about with that exacto or the scoregami concept.
But like, if you think there's going to be a scoregami, that probably means that there's a lot of points, because the scoregamis that are left are the higher scoring ones. And so like, at that point, you probably should just bet over. Like, if that's how you think it's going to go.
Sure,
more
but
of a sure
do
thing.
that in addition to your bet.
Yeah,
you know, you throw a couple bucks on your scoregami just for something to root for.
That makes sense. Score predictions for the Super Bowl given to us, 573-875-KTGR. We'll ask Rob Veno about all things Super Bowl, how he sees a lot of these props going, his thoughts on the game, the total, the spread, everything else, as he joins us next here on The Big Show, KTGR.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Columbia has a lot of great neighborhoods, a lot of beautiful neighborhoods, and you can't replace or build new homes there, but they're aging, and the homes are getting to an age where they're needing maintenance. And one of the biggest things that we see coming over probably the next decade is need and demand for window replacement. So as your home approaches 15, 17, 20 years old, you're probably going to notice some drafts. You're going to notice some locks that don't quite lock anymore, maybe some condensation in the windows on the inside, outside, or between the panes. There's a variety of things. Or maybe you just drive up to the window and it's got rotten wood or a really faded exterior. But either way, at about that time frame, these windows kind of end their life cycle. And so we want to be prepared to be the ones that you call, when you notice that and you want a solution for it. The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com. Hey, y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. And this Sunday, the Superb Owl is back. Who will you be rooting for? At Billiards, we've had a burger called the Love Story for years. And it's so good, it'll turn your head. It would be wise to come and watch the Superb Owl at Billiards on Sunday.
Boogie on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
Your foresight is so good, you can practically see into the future. But fortune telling isn't the career path you want to take. Instead of predicting people's futures, you can help build them at Fuse 32. Because you recognize things before they can even become problems. You love the thrill of success and getting paid for it. All that's left to do now is look into that crystal ball and see yourself on the sales team at Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Apply now at Fuse32.com.
Okay, the limb is hanging over the driveway. I need this pruned.
Oh, call the electrician.
An electrician?
Yeah, or maybe your HVAC guy.
You've officially lost it. I need an expert in the right field.
Fine, call that lawn company. They mow and prune.
Yeah, they also scalped your yard last summer.
When it comes to trees, trust the experts who actually know trees. Ones that are trained and educated for pruning, planting, and removals done right. Call Eric at Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
Losing a loved one is probably the hardest punch you will ever take in the fight of life. Dealing with the fallout, finances, and how to replace that loss of income for your family is even harder. That's why Phyllis Nichols and her team are so passionate about life insurance. Phyllis Nichols is the 12-round agent who fights for your best interests and knows exactly what you need. Get your life insurance with State Farm Agency licensed Phyllis Nichols, the 12-round agent.
Honey, he says we're in legal trouble and we're going to lose our retirement. We have to get to a crypto ATM now.
This can't be right.
It's not right. I'm Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. We've received reports of devastating new scams involving crypto ATMs.
Let's report this.
We're here to help. Report suspected fraud at 800-392-8222 or visit ago.mo.gov.
Sponsored by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Oh, one football game left for the season. So be sure to get your bets in your jurisdiction of legality. Now's your chance for Super Bowl 60 here on The Big Show, KTGR.
I found it. I found my exacto score prediction. Wishful thinking, right? Because it would mean my bet would cover, but I'm getting plus 14,000 odds. So we're rolling with it. We're ready.
Boy. On 24-19. Wow. Yep. Okay. There you go. Let's bring in Rob Veno of wagertalk.com here for sports from a Vegas perspective. Robbie, does 24-19 Seahawks sound like a good exacto score to you?
You know what? It's as good as any. There's wild scores in Super Bowls, guys, because teams get desperate. They do things that you wouldn't normally do in games. Some of the recent past has shown us oddball scores. 24-19, I'm thinking of how you would get to that path, but you know what? There's ways to get there. You go for 2 on 19, you don't get it.
That's it. Patriots down with the ball, they score and they go for 2 and don't get it is the kind of final score of the game. That's my theory.
Yeah, I you could see it. Maybe the Seahawks run out of the end zone with 10 seconds left and give them 2. And
there we go.
That's also,
I like that. And that'd be a way to hit it.
a block punt that goes out of the end zone. You get to. I mean, there's ways to get there, guys. Especially modern day, with as aggressive as a lot of these play callers are. In the terms of going for 2. So I wouldn't take anything off the table. Now that being said, if I got stuck with the numbers 4 and 9 in a pool, I wouldn't be so happy with my chances. But that's why you're getting paid so well to win that bet, Brendan.
That's right. That's right. And really the reason I came up with this, I originally said 24-20 because, Robbie, frankly, I'm feeling a little blue about the bet that I placed 12 days ago, Seahawks minus 4.5. We have 2 weeks of lead up, so I've had time to talk myself into why I'm going to lose the bet. But where are you at right now with this point spread that has, once it moved from the 3.5 to 4.5, and we know you got in early, it hasn't moved. And so kind of how have you seen the week and the logic, I guess, behind that from your vantage point?
Yeah, I was talking about this earlier on a different show, guys, and I'm so glad that I bet when I did, that I released to clients when I did. Now, by the time I released to clients of Wager Talk, it had already gotten to 4.5, but I wasn't frightened by the 4.5. I feel like Seattle will win by 6 or more. You see a lot of people I mean, you hear a lot of voices that say it's going to be a blowout, et cetera. It may well be, but it's certainly not the way I handicapped it. I mean, you're going to give 4.5. You try to find out what's the probability of me winning by 5. That's all I care about, really. If I win by 35, even better. If you're alternate betting, even better, because you're getting a better price. But we're looking to win the game by 5, and I don't see a problem in that. I kind of shut off the outside world by betting and releasing so quickly, Brendan. And that's probably the reason why. You don't want to give yourself 2 weeks to rethink what you have a strong conviction about. If I didn't have such a strong conviction at the opening, at the outset, I probably would have taken the 2 weeks, methodically paced around, seen what I could dig up. But I used that time for props a little bit more than I normally would. Yeah, I'm still pretty strong with Seattle. We'll see game day where the rush comes in. I do think this, guys, that New England is such a public team that the line probably won't get out of control here. I don't think it's going to move much at all because New England is just such a public team that they're going to get their share of what we would call the $25, $50 bettors that all participate on Super Sunday. So I think if you still like Seattle, I think it's a good price to get in on.
Rob Veno of wagertalk.com here on the Big Show KTGR and the KTGR app. Is there, do you foresee any movement on the total between now and then? Also, maybe held kind of steady at 45.5, and it makes sense with, both defenses kind of doing pretty well. Seattle's offense, obviously, more of a reason why they're at where they're at. But the Patriots defense is opportunistic as they've been, maybe stalling out production. We'll see. But it is the total maybe more inclined to go up a little bit as we get closer here, or maybe down?
Well, for the most part, people do like over, right? I mean, those who are just participating because it's the Super Bowl generally would like to see points. So you would think that because this is one unique game where public money outweighs the so-called syndicate money that was all bet early, and now all we're going to see is a rush of Sunday, Saturday night, Sunday morning betting. So you would think, Andy, in theory, that it might go up a little bit. You wouldn't expect it to go down. And you guys have talked to me long enough. Generally speaking, I take a daily card, I look at it, I scratch out all the games that I think are going to go under, and then I look at the rest and see what can I bet over. And this game, I came to zero conclusion yet. And again, because I've had to discuss this game so often, I was talking today, and even in the write-up, in the analysis that I gave clients, New England's path, and the path to getting over 45, I think, while it's possible, I think it has to contain a couple of, out-of-the-box things. For instance, the special teams return guys are really good here. Marcus Jones and Rashid Shaheed. You could get 7 either way without any offensive help. And then the turnover possibility. Drake May's been picked off in every game, I think, so far in the playoffs. So, you get a Seattle strip sack or something, which they're good at. Or on the other side as well, you get defensive turnovers that set you up in good position. Or, New England could get or Seattle could get a big pass interference call, 35-year pass interference call that sets you up. So all these things, I think, are options in the game. But when you handicap it, you can't count on that and say, yeah, I'm going to bet over because I know I'm going to get 7 out of Shaheed on a kick return or 7 out of Jones on a kick return. It's hard to do. I think the odds makers have it in a really good spot. 45 is a tough number to find a really good angle over or under. And the weather in Santa Clara is supposed to be really good here, so we shouldn't have any problems where that's concerned.
Okay, so you mentioned it with those return guys. That launches me into props because I want to get into some of that with you. Let's start with MVP. Is there an alternative angle that you can find for anybody that you say, hey, you know what? It's a long shot, but here would be a path. I just look at Marcus Jones, Rashid Shaheed. Their odds aren't as long as some other long shots, probably because of that aspect, where if either of them were to contribute in the return game, that maybe gives them an inside track. But how are you viewing MVP? Is it as simple as the winning quarterback for you, or is there any other value that you see?
Yeah, because it's always voted on, Brendan, it's just weighted so heavily. And as long as the winning quarterback hasn't screwed up royally. Generally, they'll get the nod. But where the two return guys you mentioned are concerned, the better of the two options would be Shaheed, because you have the potential to make something happen on offense too, if you're Shaheed. So you could have a big play on offense. Plus, if the game against the Rams, I think about a few weeks back, where his punt return in the fourth quarter kind of swung the balance of that game. If an event like that happens, out of those two guys, I'd prefer him. The running backs come into play. If Kenneth Walker were to have a big day, that could help. Jackson Smith and Jigba has become such a huge name that on a day where if he were to catch 8 or 9 passes that go for 120 plus yards or something with a couple of TDs, you could see him definitely get there. But it's just so hard to think outside the box where MVP is concerned, because they vote on it and they just almost always give it to the quarterback. It's tough bet to make. I know you get good odds with it if you catch one of those situations, but it's tough.
Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Another tough one for sure, but it's one that's a lot of fun, one that we've had fun on this show with here recently. The jersey number of the first touchdown scorer, Rob, it's at 10.5. There's plus money on the under for that. And I was a little bit surprised to hear, and I was like, okay, that sounds like the right call there. I wonder your thoughts on that, the jersey number of the first touchdown scorer in this game.
Yeah, when I first saw that prop and then went down the possibilities of guys that are wearing single-digit numbers, you've got some good choices there. I mean, Kenneth Walker would be your number one, right? And then you get into the New England receivers. You've got some pretty good options there, more than I think you would normally get. And to get a plus price with it, I could see somebody taking a shot with that for sure. You worry, I guess, about Smith and Jigba maybe getting the first touchdown, that, and even if Darnold does it with a tush push or something, or they're double-digit guys, but 10 counts, right? It's under 10.5, I believe.
Under 10.5, yeah.
Drake May counts in that instance.
Yep.
So I think you've got plenty of good chances there to take a shot at that one, especially at plus price. I'm a little surprised when I was a little surprised when I first heard of that bet, that it would be plus money.
It is.
Yeah, interesting stuff for sure. No, go ahead, Andy.
No. You got one.
Yeah, well, I was just going to ask you, Rob, you talked about digging in on the props, and that's what you spent a lot of time doing. What's that process been like? Are you focusing on a lot of the over-unders on kind of the standard stuff that we get when it comes to rushing yards, receiving yards, et cetera? Or you go into more of the novelty stuff that you feel like you can find an edge for? How's that kind of process been for you?
Yeah, and just you get this whatever 60-page booklet of Westgate Superbook props.
Love it.
Takes up a little. It's like being back in school again, right? Or trying to learn a playbook or something. But I'm really conservative with it, guys. I stick to. There was a time, I don't know, 15 years ago or so, when I would really like those crazy props. Where it would be like Russell Wilson, more passing yards in the first half or in the first quarter, or LeBron James points scored. You know what I mean? These cross-sport, crossover type ones that they throw out there. I've since been turned off by those. I don't pay too much attention to those anymore. PGA golf score against a guy's rushing yards or whatever. I like to stick more to what happens on the field, these matchups. I will get involved, guys, in the defensive aspect of props. They quantify those as tackles plus assists. And generally speaking, I can find a decent edge there. In this instance, what I went for first, you asked about the process, I figured Seattle would probably win time of possession in this game and maybe have more total plays, which means you would be looking at New England defenders where tackles and assists are concerned, because they'd have more opportunity to make those tackles. So I looked into that. You're always trying to find some little bit. Those props are based on season averages. So if a guy averages 7.5 tackles and assists, generally you're going to see 7.5 posted. But from there, you try to go to matchups and styles. Are they playing that same exact type of team, or how many times did he go above or under that number when playing this type of team. So it gets a little bit extensive, but I think that if you just stick, like I try to stick in my lane, what I know about guys rushing yards, quarterbacks passing yards. There was one good one here because Matt Collins was a guy who came up on my radar. Matt Collins over like 27.5 receiving yards or something. I think it might have been bet up to 29.5 now. But there was one where it was head-to-head, Smith and Jigba against Matt Collins. But it was like Matt Collins plus 60.5 yards. And you think to yourself, man, oh man, plus 60.5. It sounds so enticing, or looks like it when you first read it. But then I think, heck, if he gets to 100, Smith and Jigba, which he basically averages, you got to get above 40 with Hollins. But Matt Collins, I only mention him because that's one of those guys that I do have a little bit of money on here to get above the 27.5 receiving yards. He seems to be, no matter where his stops are, guys, whatever team he's been on, he seems to make clutch catches. They don't go to him all that often, but they seem to be big catches all the time. So in a game where maybe Stephon Diggs can't get loose or whatever, you try to look to those secondary receivers. And I thought Matt Collins would be a good shot to get over 27.5 here.
Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. All right, Robbie, whatever free pick you want from the Super Bowl, I won't even stop you from doing a college hoops one if you want. That does still exist this weekend, but what do you like the most?
I tell you what, while we're at it, guys, and the overnights came up a couple hours ago, so I've already told everybody who I like in the Super Bowl, take that for what it's worth if you want to tail. But tomorrow, we get that big game between Duke and North Carolina.
Oh.
And this thing opened universally with a total of 150.5. And I got to tell you, North Carolina's played 8 straight games in ACC play that have all gone over 150.5. And every time Duke has played a tempo team, whether it be SMU, Louisville first time around, Georgia Tech, whoever in that league, those games have all gone over 150.5. They've hit 157 or better. So for me, I took advantage of an overnight here. If you are standing right now in your jurisdiction of legality and you can get to the window.
We're in one right now.
Before the price goes up here, which once people start betting college basketball overnight, it might. I think Duke, North Carolina gets over 150.5 tomorrow, somewhat easily.
All right. Love that. Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com. Even during the Super Bowl, he's locked in on college hoops and everything else. That's why he's the best. Great to have him here on the Big Show, KTGR, at Rob Veno Sports on Twitter, and go to WagerTalk.com to see all their great stuff. Robbie, thanks for sharing your insights with us as always. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you soon next week.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Have a good weekend. Take care.
All right, you too. It is 4:45 here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. I mean, he immediately was ready to go with a hoops pick when everyone's thinking about the Super Bowl, right?
Yep. That's where you gotta find your edge somewhere, and that's certainly a place to have it when everybody's focused on one thing. He says, now wait a minute, they're not betting on this. They should be, moving the line on this, and gets in early. You love it.
Sure enough, he got it done. All right, under the bus next. Nate Oates might have had a self-own on this whole Charles Bediako thing, and it's made it a lot worse. That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. It's now 3 straight wins for Mizzou women's basketball. Tigers went to Fayetteville yesterday, grabbed an 87-84 win against, or 82 win against the Razorbacks. 25 points from Shannon Dowell, 24 from Grace Slaughter. Tigers are 4-6 in SEC play after 3 straight wins. Try to go for 4 straight as they host Georgia Sunday at 3 o'clock at Mizzou Arena. Coverage at 2:45 right here on KTGR. Mizzou men's basketball this weekend comes off of the week-long break, taking on South Carolina. Mizzou trying to improve to 6-4 in SEC play. Meanwhile, South Carolina near the bottom in the SEC standings. Tip-off at noon. Coverage begins on KTGR tomorrow at 11:30. And Mizzou softball opened the season with 2 losses today in Clearwater, Florida. Tigers fell 7-4 in 10 innings to Penn State, and then were blanked by number 5 Oregon 3-0 earlier this afternoon. Tigers will play Liberty to start action tomorrow and then take on BYU. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm tracking slightly cooler temperatures into the weekend as we're stuck in the lower 40s tomorrow. With sunny skies, it'll still feel nice, and we're even warmer next week, jumping back into the upper 50s on Sunday. We're in the 60s on Monday and Tuesday, over 20 degrees warmer than average, more like late March. We'll see several days of rain chances past Tuesday, with temperatures cooling back into the 40s. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
High school hoops.
Switches on the crossover, Euro step inside, high off the glass and in.
At its best.
Catch it on the left wing, turns around and knocks down the three.
KTGR is your home for the best high school basketball matchups in Columbia. Follow the QBs, Bruins, Spartans, and Trailblazers all season long on KTGR's High School Hoops Game of the Week. See the full list of game broadcasts on KTGR.com and listen on the go with a free KTGR app. High school basketball lives here on your total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. That is where I go for all things tires. When I needed new tires on my four wheels, it was finally time. I had held out long enough. I went to Lee's Tire Company because they're the experts in mid-Missouri. They've got such a large selection. They probably have it in stock if you go and show up. And they also have a full catalog online that you can shop for tires there, find the specific one that's right for you, and get a great deal on it. They run specials each and every month to help put money back in your pocket. So look, it's wintertime. Going to be some slick roads here in our near future. So head into Lee's Tire Company if you want to change out and get snow tires, or if you want just some all-weather tires that you can use year-round. Head into Lee's Tire Company. They've got a location on the Business Loop in Columbia, a larger location at University Garage by the MU campus. They're also located in Centralia. And, of course, shop online anytime at leestirecompany.com. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. leestirecompany.com.
Welcome to every gym in January. Membership prices, crazy high. Crowds, even worse. All just to wait in line for a bench. Or, hear me out, you could build your own home gym from Play It Again Sports. Free weights, dumbbells, plates, treadmills, ellipticals, benches, racks, and more. New and used. At prices that don't feel like a crime. No crowds, no monthly fees, no awkward eye contact with Chad curling on the squat rack. Play It Again Sports. Think of them first so you don't finish last. PlayItAgainSportsColumbiaMo.com.
Another winter, inside, looking at the snow in your yard that you can't write your name in because you didn't order your new deck from Crutch's Custom Exteriors in time. Don't look ahead to spring cleaning. You're ready for spring peeing and April showers with Freedom Stream powers off your new Crutch's deck. They can build your pee platform in the winter so it's ready for you to splash your autograph in any springtime snow that's left. CrutchesCustomExteriors.com. True beauty is on the outside.
Life has many sweet sounds, whether it's being enchanted by the coo of a baby, enthralled by the refrain of a favorite song, or even enlightened by a celebration. Hearing connects, informs, and engages us with the world. At Hearing Aid Consultants, helping people hear better is our passion. Set your hearing baseline now so you don't miss the sweet sounds of life.
Hearing Aid Consultants in Allmake Repair Lab. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
You're a merchant of all things that are man. Firearms, fishing, cars, food, sports. Yeah, the kind of stuff every man always needs more of. So show it off at the Mecca of Man. The 2026 Como Man Show, Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Event Center where the Boone County Fair is held. It's the best and most fun way to show every man they need what you got. Seriously, by showing them. Bring your best stuff, show it off, and have a blast. For more info on being a vendor at the Man Show, go to ComoManShow.com.
What's new in the candy kitchen?
Valentine's Day can be a lot like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It can be too hard on the bank account, too soft on the romance, or it can be just right. This Valentine's Day, if you want to do it just right, stop by the Candy Factory and get a delicious box of chocolate-covered strawberries. We cover each strawberry in our decadent milk, dark, and white chocolates to tantalize the taste buds. The Candy Factory takes pride in being Columbia's Valentine's Day tradition. Chocolate-covered strawberries from the Candy Factory at the corner of 7th and Cherry Streets in downtown Columbia. We're just right.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course. but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
So finally, Charles Bediaco's hearing took place today. The downside of that is I don't think they came to a decision, so I think technically he can still play tomorrow. Great job, everybody.
Wait a second. They didn't. What?
Yeah.
What?
Like they're supposed to submit their final arguments at 4 p.m. today, and I guess the judge can't rule after close of business Friday. And
okay.
I would guess that Charles Bediaco is still going to play tomorrow unless we hear differently here in a little bit. But this was fascinating, but also stupid. I'm following Mike Rodak's reporting on this, covers all things Alabama for 24/7 Sports. He was at the courtroom today, and he said Bediaco's attorney said if Bediaco loses the injunction, if he loses his eligibility, argues that he may never have the opportunity to compete again and would also lose the chance to complete his degree because the cost of remaining in school without a scholarship would be prohibitive, as they call it. Which, okay, that argument's pretty flimsy because he can compete again. He can go back to the G League where he came from. And then to the academic part, here's the thing. Nate Oates said today in his press conference, he was asked, would you keep Charles Bediaco on scholarship even if he lost his eligibility? And he answered, 100%. We would keep his scholarship academically, even if he is unable to play. So again, Nate Oates just undermined the argument that Bediaco's attorney just made. It was already pretty flimsy, but it completely gets shattered down because of what the own head coach said about the situation involving Charles Bediaco. This is also stupid.
Yeah, if that's your approach, I don't think you're lawyering very good. You deserve to lose just on that alone.
Yeah.
Just bad lawyering.
Bad lawyering, bad communication, Nate Oates not saying the right thing, whatever. No one's on the same page with this either at Alabama, and that's also, this is so dumb. Golly, whatever. He's probably going to play tomorrow anyway, but I would have to think, once they say, all right, final decision, I have to think now that they're going to say you can't play anymore. Has to be.
I hope so.
And whatever that does to Alabama's games that they've played with him, whether they count or not, I have no clue, but
they'll probably be fine.
Someone else's problem, I guess. Onto the bus also to Cavs GM Kobe Altman. He said either today or yesterday, they just traded away Darius Garland to get James Harden at the trade deadline. Kobe Altman said, yeah, this trade will probably make me look bad in a few years. No, I'll amend that to say I think it makes you look bad now. You don't have to wait a few years for people to not like this trade. I think people don't like it now, Kobe.
Yeah, weird one. And it's just, it was a weird day. I mean, it was a weird deadline all the way around with some of the deals that were made and players moving hands, but you got what you got now.
And players who didn't move either, kind of like Giannis, which I think was right.
Yeah, but he's injured too. I don't know.
I think it was right for the Bucks to keep him. So
is he really that injured, or was that I didn't get traded, I'm out for a while? TBD on my timeline.
That's great question. Maybe the latter, what you're describing there.
Because you can't trade him if he really has an undetermined timeline, 4 to 6 weeks, but we really don't know. Is he going to be ready for the playoffs? That maybe that contributed to why he wasn't moved. I'm not sure. Their record's really bad though this year. It's kind of crazy that he's on the team and they've got what they've got.
Bucks, I don't think had much incentive to do it now versus in the offseason. So
that could be right.
I think
especially
right
with
move.
The injury muddying it up.
Right move by them, and I mean Giannis can be upset by it, but this is he posted the Wolf of Wall Street video though, so now
yeah, we've seen that before.
We sure have. Now I know she's probably already done this before today. Her practice run, she said that she had been skiing with the torn ACL already. I guess this was the first time before a whole bunch of cameras. Anyway, it was awesome to see Lindsey Vonn, even in just a practice run, do what she did down the slope with a torn ACL and titanium in the other knee. That's pretty darn cool.
Yeah. I cannot wait to see how this unfolds in the real competition, because it's certainly an interesting set of circumstances for someone who's been doing this for a long time at a very high level.
I think within the next 48 hours or so is like her event. Or medal round, something like that. So we'll know pretty soon how she does as the Winter Olympics get underway in Italy. Should be fun. You gonna lock in on any other of the events there?
I am unlikely to lock in, but if it's on and I notice it, could I end up watching some of it? Sure. Yeah.
Go watch the hockey. Watch the curling.
I'll be paying attention, and sporadically will find a sport that I didn't realize I cared about, and suddenly I'll be invested. And you can probably bet on all of it this year, so that's why it's a little different.
There you go. Up next, we'll talk some Mizzou men's basketball as they get back in action at South Carolina at 5:05. Our picks of the week, Super Bowl edition at 5:45.
This is the year she gets an upgraded diamond, the year that dad finally gets his retirement watch, and the year that your daughter graduates, so you give her the necklace she's always dreamed of. Family Pawn is not your traditional pawn shop, but they are your secret to saving big on stunning jewelry for every occasion. Family Pawn, where you'll find timeless treasures for a fraction of the cost. FamilyPawn.com.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
Stale, old ideas are like coffee that's been left out a little too long. It's bitter, it's flat. Nobody wants that. At Fuse 32, we don't serve the leftovers. The digital world moves fast, and so do we, constantly bringing you new, fresh, bold ideas that keep you and your brand ahead of the curve. No recycled strategies, cookie-cutter campaigns, or hidden fees here. Just transparency, creativity, and return on investment you can actually see. Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Fuse32.com.
You've seen the trucks. You've heard the name, but there still seems to be some confusion. So let's settle this once and for all. Yes, Steve from Steve's Pest Control is a real guy.
Okay, sure. I'll believe in Steve when I see a termite riding a unicorn.
Time to squash those rumors, like Steve squashes spiders. Steve's Pest Control isn't some big corporate chain, and they're not some call center based in the land of make-believe. Steve's Pest Control is a locally owned, family-operated company. From ants to termites, bedbugs to wasps, Steve's crew handles it all with precision and a dash of Midwestern charm.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control.
There it is, proof of Steve's existence. So don't waste your time calling the not-so-local guys and call your friends at Steve's Pest Control. Local, legendary, and 100% real.
We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
I'm Nick DeLucas. Super Bowl 60 a few days away. The Patriots and the Seahawks battling for it all in Santa Clara. Seattle, a 4.5-point favorite on Sunday night. Safety Nick Eamon-Wari expected to play without restriction on Sunday. The Patriots will not designate Drake May with any injury, was dealing with that right shoulder issue during the week. Over to the rest of the league. Former Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury is joining the Rams coaching staff after spending the last 2 seasons with Washington. Jim Schwartz resigning as Browns defensive coordinator after being passed over for the head coaching job in favor of Todd Monken. Since 2023, Cleveland has allowed the fewest total yards in the NFL. In hockey, Penn State star Gavin McKenna will have his felony aggravated assault charge dropped, according to the Center County District Attorney's Office. While in the NBA, the Lakers are optimistic star Luka Doncic does not have a serious hamstring injury.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
From Faro. 15 to the 10, to the house. Bush. Back to the wall, and it's got her. And Arrowhead. Touchdown! Kansas City! To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
So we'll talk a little bit of hoops now before we get to our Super Bowl Picks of the Week edition. 5:40 or so is when that'll come up. You can call or text us with your Super Bowl predictions, 573-875-KTGR, but also want your thoughts on how Mizzou men's basketball will do tomorrow at South Carolina. It's the one the Tigers kind of need to get. They want to keep on a path toward the NCAA tournament. Still part of the next four out in Joe Lenardi's bracketology, so we'll discuss that. Mizzou women's hoops with a big win yesterday. We'll discuss that too at 5:25. And again, our picks of the week at 5:40 Super Bowl edition. 875-5847 to call or text us. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Super Bowl Sunday, it's coming up in just a couple of days. The spread has held serve. Seahawks minus 4.5. That's what I bet. And I really, for a while, was thinking, I don't even like my own bet. You know, I feel like I've talked myself out of it. And then I thought about that wonderful angle where the Patriots are going to go for 2, and they're not going to get it. They're going to lose by 5, 24-19. If I don't show up to work on Monday, you'll know why. It's because I hit it big with my exact score prediction. No, I'm excited for this game. I really do think, as much as I like the Seahawks to win it and to win it handily enough to cover, I think Drake May is going to play a pretty good game in his own right. These are two good teams. The Seahawks might just be more complete.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
How complete is Mizzou men's hoops? We might find out a little bit more tomorrow at noon. It's a must-win. I'm not going to mince the words on it. You have to beat South Carolina in the other Columbia tomorrow if we still want to view you as an NCAA tournament hopeful. There's no worse team, according to the metrics, in the SEC. Yes, it's a road game, but you got to win some of those in order to get where you want to go, unless you win every single home game, which they haven't done. So it's a must-win. You got to do it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Number 3.
There's Jordan for 3. Yes!
Mizzou women had a nice one last night. 87-82 to win over Arkansas. Shannon Dowell with 25, 24 from Grace Slaughter. That's a really solid win, up to now 4-6 in SEC play for Kelly Harper's group. Tiger women host Georgia on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Nice little appetizer for the Super Bowl that you can tune into right here on KTGR.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Cardinals had a waiver claim today that maybe falls under the radar a little bit. It was a guy that was traded for cash from the White Sox to Baltimore earlier this week, and then Baltimore tried to pass him through waivers. Cardinals said, we're going to pick him up. Brian Ramos, he's predominantly a third baseman. He doesn't have a lot in terms of big league stats to his credit, a 577 career OPS. He had 16 home runs, though, at AAA this past season with a 705 OPS. And the reason I do think he's notable, for the Cardinals in particular, he plays some third base, but he hits right-handed. They just haven't had too many right-handed bench candidates, so maybe it falls under the radar, but I think it's a solid move by Heimblum, getting the guy for free.
Number 5.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face?
Matt Stafford officially won the MVP last night. Drake May, he lost by 1 vote, 24-23 on the first place votes. One guy picked Justin Herbert. I had that Drake May bet from the summer.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
875 KTGR if you want to call or text us. Yeah, and the guy revealed himself, Sam Monson.
He did. And he explained why, and that's fine. I don't know who he had second on his ballot, to where if I wanted to extrapolate, I could say, if he had May second and Stafford behind, then okay, May might have had enough points to win. What do you think about that, by the way? The Justin Herbert vote, which was basically he got them where they ended up despite the offensive line being historically bad. Is that enough for you when it comes to
Was it historically
an
bad?
MVP vote?
Are we sure about that?
Okay, maybe not. I don't know what all the PFF would tell you. I did watch some of their games, and it was pretty bad.
No, yeah,
but,
I understand that they weren't good this year, but like, is historically bad really what we're talking about? I mean, yeah, they lost their tackles for sure. Chiefs also lost their first and second string tackles this year. I don't know how much sympathy I have.
Well, the Chiefs didn't make the playoffs. Now wait a second.
But also
absurd.
like
if Mahomes had still made the playoffs with all those issues, you would have been calling for his,
okay, but even through all of that,
candidacy.
when we're talking MVP, I understand that Justin Herbert elevated his team to more than that despite those shortcomings. I get it. But when you elevate your team to 18th in passing, when you probably would have only been like 23rd or 24th, like, no, I don't care. I mean, that's not MVP worthy.
More about probably the record in the playoffs, I think, that the voter chose to go Herbert. My take is that's what the down ballot votes are for. You don't vote a guy first because of those reasons. Your hot takery can put him second, right? You can put him. You don't decide the MVP on your own little charade, and then there's some debate over whether he's just kind of engagement farming on Twitter because he immediately copped to it. But it's like now everybody's flocking to your account. He gets a lot of attention. I don't think he had any malice or ill intent, but that's one where I do kind of look at it a little bit sideways. Not because I lost my bet because of it. I have no idea, like I said, if he had May or Stafford ranked higher, but because we all watched Justin Herbert this season. It was not MVP candidate. Sorry.
Yeah. Like, even if we're just talking about a regular season award, like, again, we know he did terribly in the playoffs, but yeah, we know regular season.
Yeah.
He was still.
Can't hold that against him, but
right.
But even in the regular season, there were some good moments, not enough of them, and not enough of the stats to get you there.
Yeah, like, he's not a bad player, but I feel like people have elevated him far too quickly. He hasn't done anything.
I don't know about too quickly. He was awesome as a rookie, and that kind of set the tone for where he would be.
Yeah.
And then maybe we haven't seen the consistent elevation from him, and that's why it feels like he was worth it in that first year, but then it's kind of been a disappointment since.
875 KTGR. Yeah, I think more so than anything, it was for attention than for actually getting it right, which let's not make a mockery of the process, people. Like, let's actually.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't like that he voted that way, but I also am okay with that he's allowed to. You know what I mean?
Sure, but I mean, like, he's allowed to have his opinion on who maybe deserves to be in this conversation. And again, vote him third if you feel that way. Like, throw him in. And
I felt that would have been the appropriate way to kind of put your stamp on it. And if you want to do an look at me, you could do it at a little bit of a lower scale where it doesn't actually. Now, you never think it's going to come down to one vote, but it kind of did in this case. So,
and again, a lot of money is involved in these sorts of things.
There's incentives. There's there's Hall of Fame candidacies. There's a lot of things that matter when it comes to the MVP stuff. Yeah.
So that was odd to see yesterday. Not too many other surprises in the awards that were announced last night.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to blame here. I can't blame Kirby Moore for stuff anymore. I'm going to blame Kellen Moore for something.
Whoa.
Tyler Shuck is the rookie of the year if he plays the whole season. It's just looking at the way that he elevated the Saints after he started. He only played like 10 games.
Yeah.
I think if he plays the whole season, he's rookie of the year. Granted, that comes from a place of bitterness too, because I had another bet that would have been like, I bet like $3 and it would have paid out almost $2,000 if he had been rookie of the year, because I hit all these other, like, coach of the year and all the other things. But I digress.
Who was it again? I'm trying to
Teteroa McMillan.
Oh, that's right.
And the reason I'm hating on him is because, like, he had several games down the stretch where he's like 4 yards and he got 1,000 yards. But does that mean as much as it used to when you play an extra game? I don't know. Now the Panthers did make the playoffs, and so he was a key figure on their team, but I was like, really? It was weird too, because, and I know you can't always look at the betting odds on stuff, but Shuck was like the favorite going into week 18. He had climbed all the way from plus 20,000 when I had bet on it in early December to the favorite. And then, I don't know, people realized he wasn't making the play. I don't know what it was, but it was like, no, it's not going to be him. And it was McMillan by by a landslide. It was like 41 votes to 5, so it's no big deal.
I do think voters also do this. They may not fill it out until the very end, but they've decided in their minds what they're doing by like week 14, 15. And
yeah, and in theory, the voters aren't telling, the sports books what they're voting. Like you can't, that would be insider information. But it is interesting. I wonder if sometimes it's reverse engineered. Like, would those voters ever look at the odds and then go, oh, this is what everybody says I'm supposed to do? I would like to think no, but there are odds all season long on something like that.
875 KTGR. Give us your Super Bowl take. Your final chance to get your prediction in before Super Bowl Sunday here on the Big Show KTGR and the KTGR app. Also tomorrow, Mizzou men's basketball. They're going to get started pretty early at noon tomorrow, so you can get it out of the way for the rest of your weekend. Get ready for the Super Bowl the next day.
That's good.
Tigers projected to lose 74-73 at South Carolina, according to KenPom. But even that is kind of like, that's KenPom having to pick a side.
Yeah.
It is a 50-50 game, like they.
It's not what you want for your must-win game, but, here we are.
It's where Mizzou's at, right? So, I mean, look, they do got to have it. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I don't see a realm in which, if they lose this game, don't care the score. Monday, look, we're still going to talk Mizzou hoops the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But I'm not looking ahead at the schedule anymore to figure out if they're going to make the tournament. I just can't do it. If they can't win this game, they don't belong, and that's okay. Hopefully they do win this game and show that, the talent level on this team is enough to really etch themselves a little bit deeper into that conversation. But this is one that it's not like winning elevates you. Losing it, though, you start to see the path is just not going to be there for the types of games you would then have to win. It could happen, but I'm not reasonably going to predict it if this isn't one that you're not able to, that you can't pick up,
Yeah, the rest of the season, if you lose this game, the rest of the season you're looking at, okay, who can you spoil? Can you spoil Vanderbilt? Can you spoil another one of those? That's what you'll be hunting for. I will not be viewing it in the lens of, maybe they'll get back in the
No, I will want them to make it respectable.
Sure.
I think a respectable season would still be, 8-9 conference wins. And that would be enough for me to say, hey, they kept it respectable, but not in a tournament context. No. Maybe in an NIT context. I don't really know if that's something that they would have interest in, but
maybe. Yeah, I don't think Dennis Gates would turn it down.
I don't think he should. I think the experience would be good if they were offered it. But yeah, you win this game. South Carolina's the worst. Statistically, metrically, they're the worst team in the conference. It's not by a wide margin, and I understand it's a road game. But come on, if you're going to be a tournament team, the tournament teams from your conference will have largely beaten up on this team, and they'll have picked off this team, or regardless of where those games ended up being played.
Yeah, no excuse to lose it. No excuse to be out-rebounded by this team. No excuse to let this team shoot higher than 40% from three. No excuse to let this team get out and run against you, things like that. There are several statistical edges that Mizzou can gain here that should not be hard to gain, even if they struggle from three and guys take a while to get going. They can still pepper Mark Mitchell inside, and he should be able to get to his spot, and he should be able to finish. And T.O. Barrett should be able to find driving lanes. And so there's not a whole lot of pushback. There are players. They've got a couple guys to watch out for, like Michi Johnson.
Don't let him score 40 on you.
Right. But. Yeah. He can beat you on his own. So be wary of him. But nothing else about this South Carolina team should be scary. So, yeah, if you're Mizzou after a week-long break that I'm sure was pretty key to get as many guys healthy as possible, and reset after a win, which I'm sure feels a lot better. You don't have to stew over anything. And you go out and you see how you can potentially put a hurt on a team like this. I'm not saying you have to. Just a win is going to be enough for me to say, all right, you did what you needed to do. You avoided
Yeah.
What would take you completely off track. Don't care if it's a 1-point win. That's fine.
Style points would be fun, but I don't need them in this. I need a win.
Like
the end.
Yeah, exactly. I would be pleasantly surprised to see Mark Mitchell go off for like 25 points or so, close to 30, whatever, or somebody else get hot from 3. Would like to see that. And maybe lets me see, like, okay, if you can maybe translate a little bit that to some of the other games, maybe Mizzou has a bit of a shot. But no, just win this one and then worry about the rest later, because like the next most likely games, the only other games that you have more of a 40% chance to win: home against Texas, at Mississippi State, at Oklahoma. That's it. But I think you got to win 5 out of this stretch.
Yeah, and there's, the ones that I expect to win, but a number of them are on the road. You know, you're looking at the opponents and saying, okay, these are the teams that you should be able to beat. If you go, 1-3 in those that you look at and say, oh, those are the teams you should beat, and then you play the better teams at home, and maybe you pick off a Vanderbilt, or you handle Texas, but there is a realm in which you end up certainly, down the board when it comes to the final standings. If this win doesn't necessarily indicate how they'll play at Mizzou Arena in some of those upcoming games, but if you don't get this win, it just kind of adds another data point to me for the type of teams that you're capable of losing to. They played well. I mean, the Mississippi State game, they played well and they largely handled it. It got dicier than I wanted it to toward the end, but largely enjoyed watching. I enjoy watching that game for the most part. Play that way against South Carolina, even on the road, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, they should be able to finish that game a little bit better if they get to that type of flow.
Yes.
Production level.
I do look at Boateng's injury and say, man, that was kind of a hard thing probably to watch and get back up off the mat and finish with that same intensity. I think that was kind of a point at which you started to see things leak a little bit for him.
And no Sean Phillips on the floor for any of that either.
Correct.
If he's back on the floor tomorrow.
The whole week off, hopefully that ends up being, all indications are that he's going to be fine to play. So
it should be that. I do kind of look at some of the results that South Carolina's had at home, though, and I think, well, it better get it done. I mean, they haven't really finished the job against a whole lot of these teams. They're only 2-8 in conference play. But they made Georgia work for it. Georgia only won by 5. They beat Oklahoma. They lost in overtime by 5 to LSU, a team that Mizzou has lost to on the road. They do put up a fight at home against some of these maybe opponent. I mean, every opponent they face at this point is going to be higher than them in KenPom, but they'll probably pick off somebody else at home, and you have to make sure it's not you, and that's what Mizzou's got to avoid. So, what do you think?
I'm gonna say I'll be positive and say that they get it done. Am I extremely confident? No. I think it'll be kind of an ugly game too. But like I said, I'm not going to punish you for not having style points. Just win. So I will say Mizzou 70. I think it's lower scoring. Mizzou 74, South Carolina 69.
Well, the projection says 74-73. So
okay,
I mean, it's
maybe not that low scoring compared to what they say.
Not all that far off from what it is.
Fair enough.
If Mizzou does get some production here, which I think they will, I think they can get to 80. I'll say 81-70.
Okay.
81-70 Mizzou. I don't know if I just said that. I don't know if I feel all that great about it, but we shall see as the
we'll find out.
Tigers will face the Gamecocks in the other Columbia tomorrow at noon. You can hear coverage beginning at 11:30 in the morning right here on KTGR as we get set for basketball before the Super Bowl, of course. That'll be Sunday. We'll have our picks of the week for all the Super Bowl props, the crazy ones that we can find and put on the sheets at 5:40. We'll have one of the producers join us for that as well. But up next, we got to talk about this Mizzou women's hoops team because they are officially on a roll. 2 wins in a row. Okay, that's cool. 3 wins in a row. That's a streak that you're rolling now. So what's that mean going forward for Kelly Harper's group? We'll get to that next.
The Big Show with Andy and Brendan continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions. They are the tree experts in mid-Missouri. Eric and his team are excellent to work with. I can speak to that from personal experience. We had a dead tree in our yard. We needed it removed. Eric came over, assessed it, gave a fair and honest price, told me the timeline, and he got it done ahead of schedule. And the thing is, you will experience that difference too when you work with him and his team, because they've got two jobs: take care of your trees and take care of you. So they make sure that your trees are safe, that you don't have any hanging branches over power lines and things like that. Plus, they also maintain the health of your trees so that they can grow back stronger once the springtime rolls around. And so go and check out AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com to see their full range of services. And don't forget them as the tree experts in mid-Missouri. They serve Columbia, Jefferson City, and Fulton. Go to AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com and give your trees the care they deserve with Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend.
So, Mr. Fancy Dancy Sports Car Dude, you say you were distracted by a raccoon feasting in the road? Okay. How about the fact that you were going way too fast when there's like 5 inches of snow on the ground? Nice ditch you got there, bro. Now you need a savior, a do-over. Find your phone and just Google I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for slide-offs. When your winter world seems to have been wrecked, call the team they hope you never have to meet. I70towing.com. A raccoon. Just ridiculous.
Hi, we're Midway Electric. Late winter is the smart time to take a look at your electrical system before spring projects and new power demands put extra strain on it. If your panel is outdated, breakers trip often, or you're planning major upgrades, now is the time to make sure your system is ready. From panel upgrades and repairs to efficient lighting and future-ready electrical solutions, Midway Electric helps keep homes and businesses safe, reliable, and prepared for what's next. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
You know your favorites. Now it's time to put them on the map. Nominations are open for Inside Columbia Magazine's Best of Columbia 2026, now through March 1st. Nominate the businesses and places you love, including Best Mexican Food, Best Spa, Best Steak, Best Hairstylist, Best Lawn Care, and more. You can nominate once per day, so come back and support the businesses you love most. Best of Columbia 2026 starts with you. Nominate today at InsideColumbia.net.
It was 1 p.m. on a Monday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration answered the call. It was a panicked family with a mouse problem. Well, a mouse/plumbing problem. Their toilet was more backed up than the connector at 63 and I-70. But Brian's team eventually plucked out the problem. It was a mouse, but like the computer kind, which the family then asked if they could keep afterwards. We didn't ask why. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
And now the doggy dedication with Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. This week's letter comes from Coco in Columbia. Coco writes, "Dear Kretsch's, my human's been whizzing off his new deck nonstop. I've never seen him so happy. But while he's making salty lemon snow cones, I don't have a place to pee of my own. If I had a wood fence to whiz on, I could unleash my freedom stream from a three-legged lean. Well, Coco, Kretsch's Custom Exteriors can build you that fence to splatter your bladder. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside."
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Mizzou, South Carolina hoops tomorrow. You can get your thoughts and predictions in on it. 573-875-KTGR here on the Big Show with Andy and Brendan. You know, I was glad that Rob Veno joined us last hour. He threw in basketball for us, you know, because we can't forget about the basketball this weekend, especially when North Carolina Duke's on the table. That should be fun tomorrow at 5:30. And then there's some other ranked-on-ranked matchups outside the SEC. It's your appetizer for the Super Bowl. You can't forget about it.
I won't forget about it. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I won't forget.
Nervous about the Mizzou part of it or anything else that you've already put in on action for?
Can I answer both? I mean,
Sure.
I'll be leveraged this weekend for sure.
Oh, for the college hoops,
football game. That'll be like the moment of time where you're going, all right, we've got a little bit of time left. Is there anything I didn't bet on that I need to?
Have I covered all the bases?
Yeah, but what if Elijah Arroyo is active and gets a 50-yard catch? You know, where you want me to be caught flat-footed on that guy? Okay. You know, it's tough out here.
Very hard decisions to make, you know, in Brendan's world. I can't relate, but either way.
Yeah.
That's how it goes when the Super Bowl rolls around.
This is our last chance, man. Last chance of the year. Gotta make it count.
That's true. Yeah. Because I try on the NBA sometimes. I'm not as savvy.
Last night, Austin Reeves and VJ Edgecombe both made 3 threes. That was a nice little cash for your boy.
Out for you. There you go.
I'd love to turn $5 into $40 or whatever it was.
It's fun. The ways that we can survive or thrive, not just survive, but thrive in the jurisdiction of legality. No longer have to find a river. That's the benefit for it. Here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Give us your Mizzou basketball thoughts. And we want your Mizzou women's hoop thoughts too, because this is for real a roll that they are on. 3 straight SEC wins. Went to Arkansas yesterday. It's a rivalry game. Tigers were also missing a starter. Jordana Reisman didn't play yesterday, wasn't available, but still closed it out. There were maybe a few moments where they were playing with their food in the last few minutes, but still it left the door open, but Arkansas did not walk through and burst the door down. So they came away and got a 5-point win, hit their free throws late, things like that. Shannon Dow, 25 points, Grace Slaughter, 24. She didn't come off the floor at all. Grace Slaughter played all 40 minutes.
Nice.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So that's 3 straight wins for Mizzou women's hoops, Brendan. That is legit a winning streak. I know 2 of the teams in there were not the best in the SEC. They're near the bottom of the standings, but the Mississippi State one is the one that kind of creates it. And that was one that Mizzou was not expected to get. They were not favored in that game, but they got it, and now they're reaping the benefits from it.
Yeah, and look, they're 4-6 now in conference play. The closer you can get to claw toward 500 is a notable achievement in this conference, in this league, with how many really capable top teams there are. And so, you know, finding the ways to get the wins against maybe some of the teams in the conference that aren't quite on that level, that's how you begin to separate yourself. If you can consistently get the ones from that lower tier, you know, you're no longer considered in that lower tier, I think would be a way to look at it. And to do it on the road is always tricky. And so that's impressive. I'm impressed by any time you get a road win, but this is Kelly Harper taking this team, taking this program and trying to really build it from the ground up. And in the first year, we're seeing already some really good strides.
And I think what they've done already from what you're describing, not being in the bottom tier, I think they've already proven that they're not in it. I don't think they'll finish in it this year.
Yeah, I can't say that for sure yet, knowing what they still have to play. I mean, you're going to go to 2 top 5 teams in the country.
Sure.
You're going to play 2 other ranked opponents. The other 2 games that don't fall into those 2 categories are home games. So if you are able to win the 2 home games against unranked competition, maybe that ends up getting you there. But like, I'm not counting the chickens just yet. They're 4-6. The losses can pile up quickly, and if you ended the season at 4 or 5 conference wins, you would still kind of be down there. But there's a lot of reason to believe that won't happen.
Sure. I'm more in thinking of the context of, all right, this is year 1 of Kelly Harper. And I think no matter what happens down the stretch, those who are like, we pay close enough attention to it because, you know, we're on the show and we talk Mizzou and everything like that. I think everything that has happened to this point, I think last night's win kind of solidified it. Like, they have had a progress year from what last year was, because they were scraping and clawing to get 2 conference wins last few years or so. They've already got to 4. And the also, when you talk about the overall record, they're 16-9 right now.
Yeah.
They got to 18 a couple of years coming out of the COVID years where they were sort of in the mix for the NCAA tournament, but they just missed out. I think one of the years they were really snubbed for it. But that's the 18 wins is the highest win total that they have had since Sophie Cunningham was here, where they were winning 20 plus all those years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, you have Georgia this weekend, who's a pretty strong team. They're not ranked, but they're still a pretty strong group. And then a game against Auburn. Yeah.
I'm going to call this Georgia game their most important game that remaining on the
That's
schedule.
fair.
Because it's a winnable game in terms of you're not talking about going to number 5 LSU or number 3 South Carolina, where God bless you, I would love to see them win it. But realistically, those are going to be challenging ones. It's a team that's 4-5 in conference play. And so if you win, you're actually tied with them in the conference table and you're at home. Coming off the heels of these 3 wins to be able to kind of continue that momentum. I think winning that Georgia game, it's not to say, well, then you lose the rest of them. But if you win that Georgia game, that would be the one for me that would solidify really talking about the positive developments. And regardless, you're correct. They've already accrued more conference wins than they had last year. And for Kelly Harper, it was really just taking over a relatively blank slate. They had some returnees, but like she had to come in and get the buy-in from the players that were here and then bring in some from the outside.
Yeah.
So to be able to be off the ground in a conference like this, where we talked about it earlier in the week, just how many top teams there are in this league. You're navigating those waters and picking up the wins where you can. That's beating Georgia. That would be a really significant win, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And again, we know that to be true, and the folks that are paying close enough attention know that getting a win against Georgia would be a very good one for this team, and it would set up
good measuring stick.
at least a floor of where their seed is going to be in the SEC when they finish out with conference seeds for the tournament and things like that. I'm also kind of looking at some of those other games, though, Brendan, where I already think they're making progress, and I think that's the goal for this year. You get some more of the casual fans back if you go to Tennessee and win, or you go or you host Oklahoma, who's ranked number 11, and you beat them like that. If you beat a team with a number next to their name, okay, then a lot of the fan base that was here around the Sophie Cunningham years, but maybe left, and like, look, I'm not faulting them for leaving because team started to get in a bad spot at that point. Then those people start to get back engaged. Okay, I am paying attention to what's happening here if you beat one of those teams. Because look, again, we're paying enough attention to say, like, yes, this is a progress here. Absolutely. And yeah, beating Georgia makes it even better. One of those wins, I think, also could really be helpful, even if you're not making the tournament, by beating one of those teams.
Yeah, and I guess I'm still in a little bit more of the wait and see, because when I think about some of those type of games, I would be hard pressed to predict it to happen.
Yeah,
just because, but also like it's undeniable the progress that's been made, particularly since, if you went from the very start of the year and losing an exhibition to going, oh boy, like with that result, I don't know what this season's going to bring. You might be one of those bottom tier teams where you struggle to win 2-3 conference games. They're not that. I mean, definitively, they've already proven that they're not that. But finding that next gear, I would rather just become, the master of that middle tier and say, like, if it's a team that's coming into our house and they're not, a ranked top team, that's our game to be won. And so, like, start there with the Georgia game, and then maybe I start to say, okay, I could squint and see toppling Oklahoma when they come to town, or one of those other type of opponents.
Yeah, and so this game for sure coming up on Sunday will be a big one as Mizzou hosts Georgia. 3:00 tip. You can hear it right here on KTGR starting at 2:45, and it'll most likely be done right before the Super Bowl starts. Perfect timing. There you go. We've got our picks of the week on all things Super Bowl next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Mizzou women's hoops with an 87-82 win last night at Arkansas. Tigers got 25 from Shannon Dowell, 24 from Grace Slaughter for their third consecutive SEC win. They're 4-6 now in conference, 16-9 overall. They'll go for 4 straight wins when they take on Georgia. 3:00 on Sunday, coverage at 2:45 right here on KTGR. Mizzou men's hoops does expect to have Sean Phillips Jr. return after he tweaked his ankle against Mississippi State last Saturday. Tigers have had a week-long break. They'll be at South Carolina tomorrow. Noon tip-off, 11:30 pregame start right here on KTGR. Mizzou softball with a rough start to the year today. They were in Clearwater, Florida, NFCA Leadoff Classic, lost in 10 innings to Penn State 7-4, and then were no hit by number 5 Oregon 3-0. They lost that game. Tigers will play Liberty and BYU tomorrow, then take on South Alabama on Sunday. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm tracking slightly cooler temperatures into the weekend as we're stuck in the lower 40s tomorrow. With sunny skies, it'll still feel nice, and we're even warmer next week, jumping back into the upper 50s on Sunday. We're in the 60s on Monday and Tuesday, over 20 degrees warmer than average, more like late March. We'll see several days of rain chances past Tuesday, with temperatures cooling back into the 40s. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.